Welcome to Barbara's Bulletin, the podcast where we dive into the latest news and current events from around the world. I'm your host, Barbara, and I'm glad you're joining me today. We're starting off with a developing story that's been making headlines in recent days. The situation between the United States and Venezuela has been escalating, with tensions rising over allegations of drug trafficking and military maneuvering. According to reports, the Trump administration has accused Venezuelan leader Nicolás Maduro of colluding with criminal gangs to smuggle narcotics into the U.S. Maduro has denied these accusations, and his government has vowed to defend Venezuela's sovereignty. In response to the increased U.S. military presence in the region, Maduro has announced plans to deploy 25,000 troops to secure Venezuela's borders and protect its oil infrastructure. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, who recently visited Puerto Rico and a U.S. Navy ship in the Caribbean, has stated that the U.S. is committed to ending the flow of drugs into the country. Hegseth's visit was seen as a show of support for the U.S. military personnel involved in counter-narcotics efforts in Latin America. It's worth noting that this situation is complex and multifaceted, with both sides presenting different narratives. The Venezuelan government has accused the U.S. of attempting to destabilize the region, while the U.S. maintains that its actions are necessary to protect national security and combat drug trafficking. As we continue to follow the story, it's essential to consider multiple perspectives and sources to gain a deeper understanding of the issues at play. We'll be keeping a close eye on developments in the region and bringing you updates as more information becomes available. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. I'm your host, Barbara, and we're glad you're joining us again for this middle segment of our show. Today, we're focusing on the latest developments in British politics, specifically the Labour Party's search for a new deputy leader. As you may know, the position became vacant after the previous deputy leader stepped down, and now several candidates are vying for the role. We've got a diverse range of contenders, each with their own unique background and perspective. Let's take a closer look at some of the key players in this race. First, we have Belle Ribeiro Addy, a South London MP who describes herself as a socialist, feminist, anti-racist, and trade unionist. She's been backed by the Socialist Campaign Group, a left-leaning caucus within the party. While she may not have the broadest support base, her candidacy is an opportunity for her to highlight key issues and spark important debates within the party. On the other hand, we have Emily Thornberry, a veteran MP who has held various frontbench roles in opposition. She's confirmed that she's running for the deputy leadership position, promising to be a voice for the membership, unions, and constituents. Thornberry has been critical of the government in the past, and her candidacy may appeal to those who want a stronger, more independent voice within the party. Another notable candidate is Lucy Powell, who was recently sacked from her role as leader of the House of Commons. She's expected to put herself forward for the deputy leadership position, and her experience in organizing government business and modernizing parliament could make her an attractive choice for some. We also have Alison McGovern, a housing minister who is seen as being on the right of the party. As MP for Birkenhead, she may appeal to those who want a deputy leader who can connect with voters in the north of England. And then there's Dame Emily Thornberry's rival, Belle Ribeiro, Addy's counterpart on the left, who is not expected to get enough supporters but is using her moment in the spotlight to urge the government to change course. It's worth noting that some high-profile figures have ruled themselves out of the race, including Shabana Mahmood, Wes Streeting, and Rosanna Allen Khan. David Lammy will remain Sir Keir's deputy prime minister regardless of who wins. As we follow this story, it's essential to remember that the Labour Party is at a critical juncture, with many members seeking a fresh direction and renewed energy. The next deputy leader will play a crucial role in shaping the party's future, and we'll be keeping a close eye on developments as they unfold. That's all for now. We'll continue to monitor this story and bring you updates as more information becomes available. Stay tuned for our final story of the day right here on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. As we wrap up today's show, I'd like to bring your attention to a developing story in the Middle East that has significant implications for global politics. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict has escalated in recent days, with reports of airstrikes and explosions rocking the region. According to reports from multiple sources, including CBS News and freelance journalists, Israel has announced a strike on Hamas leaders targeting senior members of the organization in Doha, Qatar. The Israeli military claims that these individuals were responsible for orchestrating terrorist attacks against Israel, including the October 7, 2023 massacre that killed over 1,200 people. The Qatari government has condemned the attack, calling it a cowardly and criminal act that violates international law. Meanwhile, Palestinian health officials report that Israeli forces have killed over 64,000 people in Gaza since the conflict began, including thousands of children, and have destroyed or damaged much of the region's infrastructure. It's essential to note that this conflict is complex and multifaceted, with both sides having legitimate concerns and grievances. As a neutral and impartial source, we strive to provide balanced coverage of the events unfolding in the Middle East. As the situation continues to unfold, it's crucial for world leaders to work towards a peaceful resolution that addresses the root causes of the conflict and promotes understanding, tolerance, and cooperation between all parties involved. In related news, Israel has warned residents of Gaza City to evacuate the area as it prepares for a potential assault. The United Nations Agency for Palestinian Refugees has expressed concern over the displacement of families and the humanitarian crisis unfolding in the region. As we conclude today's segment, I want to emphasize the importance of staying informed about global events and engaging in respectful dialogue with others, even when we disagree. By doing so, we can work towards a more nuanced understanding of complex issues like the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay engaged.